So if you've watched my videos before, then you know I often talk about ways for beginners to approach chord improvisation, but I've never actually shown some of my own improvisation and the methods that I use. So this video will be a comprehensive guide, where first I make an improvisation for you, which has already started, and afterwards I go through it with you step by step and show you all the methods I use and how you can apply them as well. And if you want the PDF for this lesson, then join the free community. The link is in the video description or in the pinned comment. And also there you can find my 5-day foundation course, which is great if you're a beginner just starting out, wanting to learn how to play and improvise with chords. So let's get into the improvisation. Alright, so that was a short improvisation, and yeah, totally the methods that I use are learnable, and I will explain them to you step by step now. So let's get right into the first section that I started with. So first of all, this progression is in the key of C major, meaning we'll use all the white notes on the piano. Now the very first section is simply introducing the progression. And this progression goes F major, G major, A minor, and then C major. So it's 4, 5, 6, 1 if you count up from the key of C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and of course the 1. Now for these chords in the beginning, the method I use to play them is, instead of simply like this, which is a bit plain, I used something which sounds really beautiful. So I added the 5th down here and only kept the 3rd up there. So compare this voicing to this one. So this one sounds a little bit warmer, a little bit denser. So that's why I use it in the slow register. And then simply shift this up. So first one, here's F major, 5th down here, and 3rd is up here. The next chord was G major, like this. Then we have A minor. So it's always just shifting one white key to the right. Now we make a jump, so we go to C, and we have, you can think in terms of the major triad. If we just remove the 5th up here, this is our 3rd, and we put this G down here in between the octave. So this is our 4th chord. And what I did here already is I used a little, melodic line to vary it a little bit. So we started with these simple chords. And then I use a passing note, the D, to go up to the E, and then go all the way back down the scale, so I land on this A, where we are for the repeat. So, and you can repeat any of these sections pretty much for however long you want. I think it's always important to find a good balance between not moving on too fast, so you can properly establish your ideas and they start to make sense to the listener. And you also don't want to move too slow. So if you start repeating one section for a whole minute, then the listener probably is going to get a little bored. So again, section 1, we have these chords and a little melodic connection where we use the note between the two notes we play, and we use it to get up there to the E, and then all the way back down, D, C, B to the A. And then you repeat this. And you can really do any of the melodic variations. So here's a different one where I'm on the C. Then I stay here on the D, which creates a nice tension. It's like an add 2 or a sus2. Then I resolve it down, and then again use this B as a passing note to get back to A. So in the second section, I did two different things. First of all, the left hand pretty much stays the same because we're still playing the shape of the octave and the fifth in between. And by the way, for finding any of these fifths for any of these chords, simply just count up 5 from the lowest note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have the note you need to play. So what I did here for the left hand was I broke it up into the bottom 2 and the top note. So this creates a little more movement already in our progression without changing too much. And in the right hand, to accompany this movement, to sort of develop into our main sections, I used eighth notes now, and here are pretty much just arpeggiated the chords, and you can stay as simple as, for example, playing a first inversion chord and for example, always play the same pattern where I go middle, bottom, middle, top. You can also, for example, start in second inversion and do something like and then, for example, go to first inversion C to do a bit of voice leading. And what I did here in the PDF and also in the improvisation in the beginning is to use again some passing notes. So for example, here first I play a first inversion F major shape. So we have A, C, F, over again our left hand with the fifth. And then where I get to the next shape of this first inversion G, I use a passing note to get, because we start from the middle note here in the pattern, middle, bottom, top. And then again, middle, bottom, top for G. So to get from the last note of the F pattern to the first note of the G pattern, you can see again, there's only one note in between, so we play it to connect them. So it sounds like this, middle, bottom, top, then connect to get to the next middle note of the first inversion G. And then you could do the same thing. So one more time, we have these first inversion shapes, and we always connect the top note of the first shape to the middle note of the next shape by doing this movement. So one more time slowly. And for example, here you can play this G twice because that's where we end up for our C pattern. What I did here is I went from this A minor immediately to the G, which also creates this A minor 7 chord, and then play this little pattern where it's just the fifth, the third, and we sort of go once to the sus2 and then back. So again, left hand, a bit more movement, same shape, right hand, we now go into full chords with inversions, and we play them in eighth note arpeggios and with optional connections. And so at the very end, from the A minor chord, I did this thing again where I land on the G, played one more time. And now I go a bit higher, so I'm in this first inversion shape here, because now I want to get to this next section. So I move a bit higher before, which is the idea to connect the different ideas and sections you're playing. For example, if you're going to a new register, moving there at the end of the last section, moving up with the inversions, moving up with a melodic line, or already introducing some more movement. For example, if I wanted to in the left hand, I could do something like start from the A minor here, and then already start playing the eighth notes in the left hand to sort of anticipate the next section. So let's get to this next section now. Left hand again stays the same. We have this octave and fifth shape, but now it's playing in continuous eighth notes, going 1, 5, 8, 5, 1, 5, 8, 5, 1, 5, 8, 5, and all the way through the progression. Quite simple, but also quite effective. Now for the right hand, what I'm doing here is playing faster arpeggios in 16th notes. So in the time signature of 4/4, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. The eighth notes would be double that, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then for the right hand we have 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So we're now one rhythmic level deeper into this movement, into just making it more exciting and getting to the climax of this improvisation. The first shape I use here on the right hand is quite interesting because we're sort of doing this octave and fifth shape but in reverse. So now it's not the F, the root that's in the octave with the fifth in there, but it's actually the fifth that is making an octave, and we have the root of the chord in there. Now just a quick note here, if we play this shape with the octave, then the bottom notes are not 5 apart. So remember, for the left hand here we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now just be sure to look at the notes and play the notes. So we have the C in the octave here and the F in the middle. Now you would have to count up 4 actually from the bottom, and then 5 back up between this F and C to find this sort of fifth that we counted before, just so you're not getting confused there. So left hand again stays the same, and the right hand shape has this sort of other way around octave with the fifth and the root in the middle. Now what we have to do is to coordinate, of course, this change between eighth notes and 16th notes. So I would recommend starting slowly here. So we play 2 notes in the right hand for every 1 note in the left hand. One more time for this F. Then I went to a second inversion G major chord. Then second inversion A minor, just shift it up. And some voice leading here, we go to first inversion C major, so the C up here stays where it is. And with this pattern, again, you can do some variations. For example, what I was doing here was which is, so we simply have this A minor shape, then this C major shape, and I was going from the top note 2 down and back up, and then we land in this F shape, which has the same top note, so this works quite nicely. Another idea that I used was something like this, where you slightly adjust the pattern and you again include this note below the top note. So in general, if you make sure that for the C, we still have 8 notes in total that we play. So we play this first inversion shape twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you make sure this note count stays the same, you can pretty much do anything you want. So for example, for the first variation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 also works. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like this, we can do all of these variations. Just make sure you don't add or remove any notes, without making it still add up to the total of 8. And for this, really the secret sauce is to be able to speed it up. So if you play it faster, that's where it really starts to sound fluent and it reaches this, really like energetic and moving stage. So for example. So for speeding this up, first of all, make sure the coordination slowly works out and you understand which notes are placed where in relation to each other. And then it's about going from pressing the individual notes to thinking in bigger terms and bigger like shapes. So make sure that this is one movement. And if you see my wrist, it's moving with the way the notes flow. So if I were to play like this, very stiff, then it would be really difficult to speed this up. So then start to get, try to be a bit more loose. And you can do this slowly also just for the individual chords and try to really be loose in your wrists, in your hands to be able to speed it up. So now we get to the, I would say, main section, the climax, which is where we add a melody, which goes like this. So this is the idea. We start on the G, go down to E, then D, G, and A. And this is pretty much this melody we're playing here. Now on the right hand, I'm combining this with some chords. Now this is some very standard, adding the chord to the melody type. So I have this melody. And I have these chords below, F major, G major, A minor. So now it's about which notes of the chord can we add or do we have to add to make it a full chord. So here, for example, we have the root in the left hand. This is actually like an add 2, add 9. So we now need the third and the fifth, which would be A and C. So let's play them here in our right hand, which we can reach quite nicely. So this would be our first chord here in the right hand. Then when the melody is coming down, we can just play these two one more time. To give it more sound, again, we're in the climax here. We want it to be sounding a bit bigger. Now, next melody note and next chord. Quite simple. We play a major triad of G and fill out the root and third in the right hand. Now the melody goes up to G, and I suggest you play the same two bottom notes just again. Now we go to E, which is in the chord of A minor, the fifth. So this can be a very simple root position shape. So one more time. This is our F with the add 9. Then we go to G, go up to the octave, and then A minor. And then I did a little like melodic run up where we go to, first of all, we have to play a C chord, and then I was doing this where from the E, the top note of the second inversion C, I go first down to the D, and then land on the C, from which I can run up to this F chord again. So you would start here with the thumb, then prepare these bottom two fingers before you arrive at the top, and then again play this F shape. So one more time, here is this melody. And then this little interlude. One more time. Whoops, left hand. And of course you can do variations for these sort of little interludes where you lead back to this highest note in the melody. For the left hand here, now again, same shape, root plus an octave plus fifth, but we're now playing the 16th notes in the left hand. Now you don't have to do these. The left hand tends to be a little bit weaker for most of us, like right-handed people. So it could be a bit tricky to get this really flowing, but if you can, amazing. Use this. It's, I think, a great way to keep up the energy. But if not, then just playing the eighth notes still is also fine. So yeah, that's options, choices you have to make, and in the end it depends on what you want, what you like, and of course what you're capable to be playing. If you want to improvise, where it's more about creating this one arrangement instead of trying to play the most complicated thing possible. So first let me play it with the eighth notes in the left hand. So you see it's definitely working out. Now I can also add the 16th notes in the left hand, which is going to sound like this. So this is the climax. We have the highest melody on top. We have the movement in the left hand. So now it's time to bring it back down. And here what I really simply did is to go back to the section we had before. So you already know this one. It's the 16th notes in the right hand and again 8th notes in the left hand. And here for the end, it sounded like this. For example. Now, some things I did here, first of all, I did a little, a slowdown. You call this ritardando. And here in the right hand, I introduce a new idea for the end, where I have the C, and I alternate it with notes going down further one each time. So I would use the fingers 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just keep using 1. So for the 16th notes in the right hand, we have to make it add up to 16 notes in total for each bar. So this is actually before the bar, so this is on the 1. So if you would count along, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, like what do? We have to do something because now we're getting a little too low. So two options here. The first thing I did was I repeated the F twice, so it sounds like this. One more time. So this is 14 plus these two, which adds up to 16. Or what you can also do, for example, you can repeat the C in the end, just sounds like this. Also works out fine. So this is just a little new idea that I introduced in the end. The left hand goes back to our very beginning, which creates a nice closing for this arrangement. And with this new idea for the end, we make sure it's not getting too boring. And this is also nice because with these repeating notes, the C at the top, first of all, it creates the effect that we of course land like on a C chord. And also you can use these nicely to slow down with the 16th notes. You can do a lot of the ritardando because with the fast notes, it's easier to slow them down, of course, than if you already had very slow notes, then it would be getting like really slow. So one more time, here's the end. And we just do this through the progression. Now again, you can also repeat the C twice, like this. And for the end, you just end on the C. All right, friends, I hope you all enjoyed this, I would say really in-depth tutorial where I, showed some of my improvisation and the methods I used. I hope, of course, this is useful to you. And if you have any questions, if you want to learn more about how to improvise like this, how to use chords, maybe you want to learn first about like how do I use these inversions, maybe that's something you're still working on. Again, check out the free 5-day foundation course, check out the PDF for this lesson. It's all in my free community on school.com. It's the link in the video description or in the pinned comments, school.com/betterchords. And yeah, I'll see you guys again in the next video, and be sure to like and hype this video if you enjoyed it, and also subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the future tutorials I'm posting. And yeah, see you again in the